Thank you, Mohan. Yeah. First of all, I welcome you, Honorable Pagan Amum, for being here today, for taking our questions. Thank you so much. And as well, I've seen you before. Thank you as well. You're looking so well as well. So that's good. That's good to know. Yeah. Right. I've listened to the briefing that you've said. And most of the things that you said, as like the government's failure of the government, and all the things that's happening here, that's happening now in South Sudan, the situation now in South Sudan, since you've left, and what has been happening. Right, and you mentioned as well something to do with like building the institution. One of the questions that I had, really, two questions. The first question is to do with Soma, because that's, you mentioned something about is still negotiating with the government, because you kind of mentioned all the things that's gone wrong. So how are the talks? How are they going on with the government? And is there, do you think it's at the end is going to give you the outcome that you're looking for? Hopefully, we all hope it's going to happen. But do you think the government, they are serious to do the negotiation with you, and they will be able to fulfill all the things that you are hoping to happen in South Sudan? So that's my first question. My second question is all to do with myself, really personally, as somebody from Upper Nile region, and we know, and you mentioned it earlier, a couple of years, what's been happening in Upper Nile and all the things. So my question is, as somebody from Upper Nile, especially from Sholo tribe, right, what I said here is that I felt like more negotiated or voices from our Cholo community or Cholo leaders who are in SPLA, they maybe should have said, their voices should have then be a little bit louder, so they could have maybe more input into what's happening with the government. Because especially after what happened in 2013 against the people, of course, our people, it doesn't matter whether it's a Cholo or whether other tribes, we know that atrocity happened and so many things happened there. But what's happening is that since that time, 2013, our people, they're still suffering. So it hasn't stopped, it's continuing. So because of that, I'm thinking, how can we make that situation? How can we make the situation better for them? Because otherwise, if whatever's going on now is happening, and we know that a lot of them, they've been displaced from their own homes, and now, of course, with the flooding as well, it's getting worse. So, what do you think our Sholo leaders should do, or should do now, to make sure that all the people, or all the other people, even from other tribes, they could go back to their homes and they can settle? Because it's been now nearly more than 7 years since this has been happening, and nothing has changed. So what do you think will happen, and how do you think this can be sorted, really? Whether the government is there or not, it's just, I'm looking for the future, because I'm thinking being displaced somewhere else, and then at the same time, nothing has changed. Because if the situation has changed, yeah, but nothing has changed at all. This is the opposite. It's become worse now, because I don't know exactly how it's going to be, but because I know you worked with the SPLA, all the leaders, and of course you must have had some kind of whether it's your opinion or what you've seen there must have been something positive from what you've seen throughout the SPLA when we started after the independence. And last thing is to do with this as well. It's to do with the nepotism, and as well we have the corruption. You mentioned that one as well. So what are the solutions? Because even if we, at the end of the, even if we come together, how are we going to know that, and to make sure that the same thing is not going to happen? Because it's been going for so long. How are you going to break it, so it won't happen again? So these are the three questions. I hope it's not too long. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tabu.
You're welcome.
I greet you also. It is good to see you, but although I was seeing the pictures very big, eventually I could not see you very well. But thank you. Yes, we are talking with the government, and how are these talks going? They are not going because the government withdrew from the talks using an incident of, or the incident that happened on the road, unfortunate incident that happened on the road where two of our Catholic sisters were killed and three others. And first of all, the President Kiir accused Nas and Soma for committing this. And from the investigation that have been done, it is clear that those who actually carried out the attack were the very people who also rescued the nuns and the people who were in the bus. So they were government soldiers. And but the government used that as an excuse to walk out from the talks, Rome talks. And this shows the lack of seriousness in the Rome talks themselves. And it is not surprising that the government walked out from the talks after we have reached and agreed on the agenda of the talks, because they fear that maybe we will push and negotiate an agreement that will be difficult to dishonor or to not to implement, because we'll entrench guarantees into that agreement. Maybe that is the main reason why. And therefore, I am not confident that if we reach any agreement with this regime, that they will implement it. It will not be different from any other agreement that they have signed before. They have all the agreement they have signed, they have dishonored. And I believe this one will be too. Though we will try to continue negotiating in good faith, and we will make sure that we will put guarantees of implementation in such a way that it will be difficult to dishonor. That is what I can say about the talks. So there are no talks as we speak now. They are suspended. There are a lot of efforts from the international community to pressure the government back to the table. On the suffering of our people in Upper Nile and in Cholonan, yes, I agree with you. People are displaced and they have been displaced. Actually, it is the whole of South Sudan that is displaced. And now people, all of them are suffering. And the suffering of our people will not end unless this regime is changed. These problems that they are facing are emanating from Juba, from this regime, or from its absence. Now, with the difficulties that the Cholo people are facing, like all our other communities, what we can do in this situation of absence of government, or when the government has turned to be hostile and enemy to the people, is for the people to go for self-help activities and engagement for people as communities to come around together, build projects, those who are in diaspora to help the people back home, just like what RBC is doing, is raising funds for our victims of floods from Lakes Estates and from Unity Estates who are hosted in Lakes Estate. And these are activities that should be encouraged all over our communities and all over South Sudan. Also, there's need for solidarity and cross-solidarity among them all, because in the end, we are one people as South Sudanese, and the solution to the problem of Cholo is within solving the problem of South Sudan itself. And ending the suffering of Cholo can only happen when you end the suffering of all South Sudanese. This is what I believe in, and this is, I believe, is the only way that we have. Being separate from the rest of the communities, or communities to break down and separate themselves and each taking care of itself, will not really go very far. And again, the regime has been creating conflict among our communities, like what they have done. The regime and President Kiir in particular has fomented this conflict in Upper Nile between the Cholo and the Padang Dinka, people who have lived together for centuries without any problem. And today, they are in problem having dispute over land in which they have lived together, and they know their boundaries, they know their areas, they know their villages that have been inhabited for centuries. And today to say this is my place when you were not there, or I was not there for several centuries, or the other person come and say this is my place and he was not there for centuries, this is just unbecoming, and it cannot, it is just simply not good. It divides the people. And the purpose why Kiir is doing that is to basically make our people in Upper Nile engage and be at each other's throat on issues of land, while he's taking the oil money, including the 3%. Which would have benefited the people in the oil producing areas. That is the purpose. And he loots hundreds of millions, maybe billions. You can see just from the latest scandal that has just been exposed, a looting scandal that has just been exposed, of wanting to take $650 million in fake and fictitious development program, which is not there, which was not there, and giving that money to be paid by South Sudan from the oil money and brought back to them. So that is the type of government that divides its own people, and they thrive in creating conflict all over the place, whether in Jungule or in Upper Nile. Look at what they are doing in Jungule between the Murle and the Boer people, or between the Murle and the Nuer. And you can see the hands of the government there. So that is how I see the situation. And the solution in the end is regime change. How? By the people uniting themselves, coming together and taking back their country, and agreeing as one people that they are the citizens of this country, they are equal citizens, and they want to build this state to pursue their interest and to to achieve their aspirations of a better life, of having schools for their children, hospitals for those who get sick from the members of their family, and having good roads, and develop agriculture, and having these roads so that you take the produce to the market, and having a good internet, good system of information system in the country, and telecommunication, so that we join the 21st century. Thank you.